for individuals, families, and churches. It seems that somehow it has been deemed insufficient for how we respond to politics and government. Yet, the same book that can restore a person, home, or church is the very same book that can restore and transform our nation. Friend, we don't need to change books. In fact, it is precisely because we have changed books that the chaos in our country has gotten worse than ever before. God is in charge, and alone sits as the ultimate government over His creation. It astounds me that in all of the talk permeating the airwaves, around water coolers, over dinners, and among Christian friends concerning the elections, candidates, parties, and platforms, how little a biblically based theistic worldview seems to enter the equation. God may get dropped in here or there on one issue or perhaps two, but that is not good enough. Unless God and His revealed word is the overarching influencer and rationale over how our electoral decisions are made as believers, then we cannot expect God to be the overarching influencer in our nation. Nor can we expect God to pour out His blessings on us as a country when He has been similarly marginalized and at times even dismissed from the equation. God rules. My fellow believers, it is time to return to the book. It is time to look to the one source that holds the answers for how our country should operate: the Bible. And to do so, I want to start with the foundational principle upon which all else should rest concerning how a Christian should vote. This principle is located in the book of Romans, where we read, "Every person is to be in subjection to the governing authorities. For there is no authority except from God, and those which exist are established by God." Romans 13:1. God is in charge, and alone sits as the ultimate government over His creation. All other governments are then to reflect His ultimate rule. It is as straightforward and as complex as that. Scripture tells us clearly that there is no authority apart from God. Not only that, but we read that any governing authorities put in place have been established by God. Now, that doesn't mean that the people filling the positions within the governing authorities are intentionally serving God, or that their decisions are in line with God, because many, if not most, are not. But the institution of governmental authority has been created, decreed, and established by God underneath His sovereign control. For this reason, God cannot be removed from believers' involvement or representation in government, because laws are made based on belief systems. Since the Christian's belief system or worldview is to be derived from the Bible, then out of necessity it should inform our politics, and therefore should inform our vote. A quick word on sovereignty before we move on, because an accurate understanding of this principle is critical to formulating a believer's worldview on voting. Sovereignty simply means that God is accountable to no one. All things are either caused by Him or permitted by Him. To acknowledge His sovereignty means to recognize His jurisdiction, along with the validity of His supremacy over every area of life. Psalm 103:19. Romans 11:36. What humanism often does is offer an insufficient understanding of the sovereign purpose and work of God. These systems attempt to box God into a government confined within the perspective of man. Yet when humanity is used as the starting point for interpreting and interacting with God's creation, faulty theology and sociology emerge as mankind attempts to fashion God into the image of man. As a result, socialism and communism in particular use government to suppress religion to such a degree as to